What's the weirdest rule you had in your home growing up? Parents had a plaque of the Alcatraz prison regulations above the pantry. You are entitled to food, clothing, shelter and medical attention. Anything else that you get is a privilege. Okay, love you too, mom. I was never allowed to leave a drink in the car because, according to my mother, someone could poison it. She's always been overly paranoid about safety, but that one is my favorite. The only movies we could watch on Sunday were 1. Bambi and 2. The Sound of Music edit, just answering some recurring questions. Yes, I was raised Mormon. We weren't allowed to watch religious movies that weren't LDS. We were allowed to watch a LDS film called The Other Side of Heaven, but the disc was scratched. We weren't allowed to go in my parents' room ever. When I say ever, I mean ever. One day my brother and I decided that we couldn't take it anymore, so we snuck into their room. There wasn't anything in particular that was strange, but it was still weird that we weren't allowed in there. We were not allowed to use the front door. Ever. There was a metal screen on it with a deadbolt that needed a key for either side. My stepdad kept the key and even visitors had to go to the back through the side gate. Edit. My stepdad told us only cops use the front door. Anyone who came to the front was automatically suspect to him. We would too never answer the door to strangers for this reason. All of our friends/visitors were to go through the back. Wasn't me but my neighbor. When my dad would come home from work, my friend would have to go home. His parents told him that because that meant it was dinner time and therefore he should come home. Him being a child didn't grasp that portion of the rule. He only understood come home when my dad gets home. This translated in my friend being terrified of my father. If he saw my dad turning into the driveway, he would drop whatever we are doing and sprint home. If my dad would make it home and get out of the car, he would cry and run home. Somehow in his head, my father was bad. It took some time before my friend was comfortable around my father. I wasn't allowed to wear my hat backwards. My dad thought that it was a gang thing. Mind you, this was in rural Wisconsin in the 90s. My parents are wonderful people, just may not have had the best understanding of the world at that time. That if someone knocked on the door, we were not allowed to move or speak until mom decided that yes, we were home and would accept company. Didn't realize how weird that was until my friend came over and seemed surprised when someone knocked on the door, and I covered her mouth and pulled her away from the curtains. My mom refuses to answer the door for unannounced visitors, and to this day will still pretend no one is home if she doesn't feel like socializing. It's even worse when they call her cell phone and hear it ringing from within the home despite every television being on mute and every light in the house being turned off. I wasn't allowed to make noise. If I spoke above a mumble, I was being surly. If I was playing, it could not be audible outside of my shut bedroom door. If I was cleaning, which I usually was, then I couldn't make noise while doing it. The consequences varied, usually being screamed at, having something thrown just past my head, or having something I valued taken away. My brother did not have the same restrictions. He's always been an avid musician. Played video games at full volume. Cracked jokes and was generally encouraged to speak up. The only time he had the same rules was when our mother was on the phone, which was pretty often. I don't resent him for being treated better, and he frequently advocated for me. Now I have some interesting quirks. I can wash dishes in complete silence. I still leave drawers and cabinet doors slightly ajar. I sneak up on people at work by accident. If people are watching TV with me, I have to remember to turn up the volume for them. There are days when I can't handle the sound of turning on the shower or running the vacuum cleaner. I have a decimeter app on my phone and frequently check to see how much noise I'm making. I even sneeze silently. But I blast the radio in my car and through my headphones. Yes, I'm in therapy. My parents acted like referring to them as Yoshi while they were in the room was the equivalent of saying fuck you. So referring to my parents with pronouns was effectively not allowed. Not allowed to whistle at night. Was told that you'd hear one back from someone who isn't there. Clarification, my mother is Native American, so we have a few superstitions like that. House isn't haunted. Parents aren't schizo. Just mild superstition. I could only buy things if I was buying them for a birthday or Christmas gift for somebody else. Mind you, this was my own money I earned from my job. My mom knew how long it took to get home from school, so if I stopped at the store, she knew and I'd be in trouble.